Okay, let's just jump right in. If you're prepping for your CCIE lab exam, you've heard the stories. I mean, the brutal reality is that most people who sit for this thing do not pass on their first try. But what if I told you that failure is actually predictable? And if it's predictable, it's avoidable. Today, we're going to crack the code on exactly why so many candidates fail, and more importantly, how you can be in that small group that succeeds. 80%. That is the approximate failure rate for the CCIE lab exam on any given day. Now, just let that number sink in for a second, but whatever you do, don't let it intimidate you. Because what the data really shows is that this isn't about intelligence or how good you are technically. It's a failure of process. It's a failure of execution under immense pressure. And the best part? That is something you can absolutely fix. And this right here, this is the key mindset shift you have to make. A failing score isn't some final judgment on your skills. You got to think of it more like a very expensive, very specific diagnostic report. It's pointing to a single, correctable flaw in your strategy. Our job today is to find that flaw and design a process to completely eliminate it. So, where do these flaws even come from? Well, after looking at countless candidate experiences, we can pretty much group every single failure into one of 4 distinct categories. Understanding these paths is really the first step to making sure you don't walk down any of them yourself. So let's break them down. Now, what's really fascinating about this is that it ranks each failure type by pain level. First, you've got the undercooked candidate. They just didn't put in the hours. Their pain is kind of low because, well, they knew they weren't ready. Then there's the person who cracked under pressure. They had the knowledge, but not the mental game. But just look at that last bar. The most painful failure of all, a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale, is the candidate who's celebrated too early. This is the candidate who finishes the exam, feels confident, and maybe even tells their friends and family they totally nailed it, only to get that soul-crushing fail notification. It is absolutely devastating, and it almost always boils down to 2 specific critical mistakes in their execution. These are the silent killers of CCIE score. And here they are. First, just not reading carefully enough. The exam tasks are written in this dense technical language where a single word, like not or only, can change the entire meaning of a requirement. The automated grading script is looking for ABC, but because you skimmed the instructions, you configured ABC. Boom, you fail the whole task. Second, and this is huge, a total absence of a verification strategy. You spend all your time configuring and literally 0 time proving that your configuration actually does exactly what they asked for. Okay, so we've laid out the 2 biggest reasons people fail. So what's the single biggest key to passing? It's a really simple but profound shift in how you manage those 8 hours in the lab. This isn't about knowing more BGP. It's all about strategy.
This slide says it all, doesn't it? The failing candidate uses pretty much all 8 hours just to configure, leaving 0 time for a systematic final check. They're just racing to the finish line. But the passing candidate? They operate completely differently. They get all their configuration work done in under 6 hours. Why? To dedicate the final 2+ hours to a ruthless, systematic verification process. That 2-hour window, it's not a nice to have, it is the entire game. This strategy builds into a crystal clear rule. We call it the 6-hour rule, and it should become your new mantra. Step 1. You practice until your speed and your muscle memory let you finish all the configurations in under 6 hours. Step 2. You treat those final 2 hours as the most important part of the entire exam. This is when you reread every task, you check every single parameter, and you prove your work. And let's be crystal clear about what verification actually means. It is not just a quick ping to see if something is up. It's a deliberate, parallel process. For every single feature you configure, you have to know the exact show and debug commands to prove it meets every last requirement. Remember that unforgiving grading script? It will fail you for E0/0.11 instead of E0/0.10. Verification is your only defense against these tiny precision errors that will absolutely cost you points. Okay, so we've identified the problem and the course solution. Now, how do you actually put this into practice? Let's build a simple, no-fluff action plan that you can start on today. The first step really starts with this number, 500. Analysis of successful candidates consistently, and I mean consistently, shows a minimum of 500 hours of deliberate, hands-on lab practice. And this isn't just mindlessly typing commands. This is structured practice to build the speed, the accuracy, and the muscle memory you need to execute that 6-hour rule. There are absolutely no shortcuts here.
So here it is, your entire plan on one slide. First, commit to those 500+ hours of lab time, no excuses. Second, you have to inoculate yourself against the pressure by taking 4 to 6 full-length, timed mock exams under realistic conditions. And third, and this is the most important part, you have to elevate verification from an afterthought to your primary strategy. You have to practice it, time it, and perfect it.
We have covered a lot of ground, but it all comes down to taking action. So I'll leave you with this question. Looking at your own preparation, which of these common failure points really resonates with you? Is it your reading comprehension, your lack of a real verification strategy, your time management? The path to passing begins the moment you identify that one specific correctable deficiency and you decide to fix it.